Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Last week, I tried out keyboard mode. And it's interesting. I mean, you'd have to play it for weeks and weeks and weeks to see if you could actually get as fast as I could with this pointer. There's definitely some things that felt a bit off for me. So I'm wondering if it's possible to do a hybrid. I'm also copying things. Well, I don't see the copy window anymore, although... Oh, yep, okay, I think that's done. So build, Windows. This is currently... we're in a really weird spot where Jason is done preparing for binary release 2.15. But I updated a little while ago and none of the binaries updated. So it's like, to make something that will work, definitely work with the game, I actually would probably want to stay on the source I had from before. Alright, so that's a build directory. Now so I had this, and I had my notes. I always do that. The problem is there's so many files in the build folders that if you do a file search at the base level, it takes minutes. No, split first. So removing clothing is rare enough, I'm not too worried about. Being able to distinguish clothing and eating is probably useful. So yeah, we've got problems right now. We don't have a thing for doing other people. And then I had experiments with player mode. And I think I've got this patch disabled in my settings right now. We don't have kills. Now, the modes I was doing before relied on passing a bunch of flags through the usual object discrimination stuff. But to go with the style of this, where it's one key per, it's almost like you don't even use that regular function. So I might be able to stack that by doing like he does. And actually, I'm going to kind of need to have two files open at once. So that's games. I could probably... So that would be a branch. I could probably look at the branch in source control. Although I have to deal with removing pluses and minuses if I'm copying anything. Da, 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 da. So could we set up... Well, if it's one life to... Well, I already had... I had one for looking at ob stuff separately. See, what was test? That doesn't have a repo at all. So it just has that, which is my local main directory. And I'm currently on keyboard control, so it did that one, which is sort of okay right now. Because that's what we wanted. So that lets me have that, and I can go also in here, and we can look at all, well, it's mostly going to be down here. We may have had to distinguish some other stuff. Yeah, it looks like there may be some complexities to this. Okay, so marks were cool, but that can be done as like a later layer. Okay, so there's that. So problems we had with keyboard mode. Yeah, so if you do a keyboard focused thing, and Backpack's workable as is, it'd still be nice to have a key for it, but I think it might default to cycling. Boxes I'm gonna have to look at. This has to do with positioning, which would be fine with pointer hybrid. So we've got hybrid mode. So our awkward, well, we want a backpack key, maybe? Well, the awkward bit is that you need put in backpack and cycle in backpack. And you have to distinguish, I want to swap items from I want to put an item in. And that's normally left and right click. See, that's not an issue. So switching in boxes should be your ordinary use drop, I think. Yeah, save locations for objects. But that mostly gets covered by pointer. Diagonals. Oh, I need diagonals to use. That was weird. Missing animation. So if I'm doing things in his style, I'm just going to have to look into how animations work. Hmm. Yeah, so a lot of it is lack of positioning. Watch animations. So in the keyboard mode, depth is for container, remove object in backpack. Examine contain, yeah, oh, examine mode. I forgot about examine mode. Examine mode was great. And that can largely use pointer as well. No, we want this one. So he had movement, and the run movement was actually kind of cool. So we've got the eat self. Remove clothing, I might leave on the basic operation. Or the basic click. We've got use object. Oh, Houston defines it as pick up. Well, using a object on the ground when you have empty hands is a pickup transition. It gets weird with like stacks of bowls and things. And he had a special thing for take. Oh. Right. Because the boxes are one thing, but you have pickup basket. And you have take thing out of basket. And I think that that is actually different than the drop action. It's like S remove, and I think it is SREM, so that's why it was S. We've got person interactions. Maybe take clothing from other comes into place if it's a swap. And kill is a separate command. And remove, oh, backpack was a special case. Yeah, that one I might just leave as click, because that's, well, in theory we have pockets now. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get my server ready. Build server fetch. Build server. That will take a minute. Yeah, so the current tile was convenient, but I can probably... So these are combined, but these are not. And then examine person was a thingy because you don't have hover. And then we've got locations, which might be a later project. So he did a lot of this by sending commands directly, which ended up missing some of the animation setups. So that's direction stuff. A is a run. X is examine. Which he... Well, there are things this can actually do that you can't because click would normally have an interpretation. Yeah, the hint stuff. Oh, is this general direction and not... No, that's definitely still X. Oh, interesting. So you could actually delete a next action message that was pending if you just tore through here with pounding on keys. So use on location, remove. Oh no, it's remv. Drop baby, you baby. Oh, this does have a little bit of distinguishing in it. Action at current tile. Oh, if we press a key and it gets here, it's assuming this. Put intake, default clothing slot. So there's some distinguishing there. Use at current location. Ah, that becomes the swap. I don't think there was anything here. Maybe a shift. All right, no, this is the arrow keys for VOG mode. And then the up down. I was thinking of key up maybe. And he did do something with spacebar I never got into. So I do want to be looking at the actual code that did some of this stuff. And the other thing I have to sort out is, okay, so main repo. STG series. Oh, we're not on anything right now. And I haven't fetched this because he hasn't published the new update yet. So I've got the interaction modes thing going on already. And drag drop use kind of depends on that. Although it has me wondering, We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We went drag to examine. If it's self, we've got other ways to deal with that. If it is a pickup and if it's an empty space, it could be considered a pickup, a drop. Take from container. Yeah, I might be able to make drag and drop just do this style of use. Well, on a target location. I'd want to check for, 'cause I think this is where I'm missing some animations. Player target action. Let's click dest. Not adjacent. Use from a distance. Close enough to use object right now. Wait, so what if we're not close enough to use it right now? Greater than 1. So it completely does that. Trying to heal. That could be a special case. Can click on other. Well, there has to be a use command, right? What? Close enough to use object right now. So if you're not close enough. Oh, action equals use. Action equals use. So use space is not the only way we get this. A use in ground override the drop action. There's that one. Override the drop action. I'll right-click on default to use if nothing else applies. So there must be something in here. Where this is performing an action on reaching a destination. Can execute. This is still pointer down. I mean, this would have to be like step or reach destination or something. Unless he's faking pointer down. In the event. This is a pointer up. This is a fake click. Now I thought this was auto run. Mouse down frames, yeah. Straight line, continue of road. That's the fake click for road. Right. That must be next action message to send, which gets sent upon reaching destination. Waiting to send. Equals null, equals null, equals null, not equal to null. And current speed equals 0. Our live object player action target. Done moving, can start showing pending action animation if end of motion not received from server yet. So that's some animation stuff. Send to server socket. So next action message is prepared wherever, and then it's actually sent when everything aligns. Okay, let's see, so let's try and then figuring out what keys I want to assign to these things will be the hairy part. So I just kind of started doing the bottom action keys. I'll probably want to do like a kind of a maybe more of a home row style thing. Or maybe I start with mnemonics and then worry about so backpack we could punt if we need to. We already have this, although it could probably be improved by doing this. No, that one already does the self-action directly. Examine gives us new capability, but it's not like a core thing. So like use drop, take from container. Oh, so actually, his actions, I wasn't even looking at it. F is, so you've got your like home row. So A was run, S was take from container, D was drop, F was use. So that might be, well, D and F are definitely something to build on. And then maybe take from container. But we'll have our pointer location to better do that. And then self key. Man, I thought I used that one more. Eat where was down to V. It's actually pretty close to where I had it. So, I mean, having these be similar where it makes sense is probably good. CD game source. So the problem is I already got some stuff like this in interaction modes. But this is like a completely alternate path. That's what I was thinking. Could I make drag, drop, use, not use interaction modes? Then I could actually start pushing that towards a publishable state. And possibly I could work on this other stuff below interaction modes. So first step, game source, living life page. Did I have a... No, I had a... That would have to be in pointer up, right? Mouse held, not in motion, pointer down. Yeah, interact object. But do we need full interact object there? Well, there was the question if we wanted to treat it as a drop action sometimes. But there's going to be use object there. Close enough to use object right now. So actually, this is some of the stuff I did get out of calling the regular pointer down. So in keyboard mode, we know that we're always kind of adjacent to something when we use it. And actually, some of this might be where the diagonals were causing problems. So we're close enough to use it. Well, we can get object, holding ID, get use distance. What's D? Oh, is distance to our target location. Get trans. This is if it actually does something. Well, it uses it does something. But I don't think he checks that. Yeah, just send the use. So if we do a drag, we need to check if it's usable at distance. And then otherwise, we've got action use. If it has a food value, use on ground transition, use on floor transition. Yeah, so this is what I get out of calling the base version. All these special cases. Oh, this is all mod click, though. So maybe we don't want to do that. Right click and default to use if nothing else applies. So if dest ID not equal to 0. This is the container swap. Which we're looking at making more explicit. Actually, I guess if I end up doing these as all keys, maybe these could go. But specifically for drag and drop, yeah, maybe we just ignore those and see if there's any cases that bother us. No, we want to use. Oh. But the keyboard could be at distance. This cannot be at distance. This could be at distance. So we still need to care about this case. So this is only dest ID, which we haven't even looked at. I'm counting on pointer down to do that. But it cares about that because it's checking for a transition. Well, your next Maxon message to send. But the difference is that if it's keyboard mode could assume it was always adjacent. Whereas pointer down will do the necessary pathing, if need be. Where do we actually use action? If stir can't drop, next action dropping. Oh, that might be some of the animation stuff, but that'll be explicit command. Queue this until after we are done moving if we are. So that prepares the next action message to send. Oh, map move offsets. That's some of that stuff. Wait, so what's the true click then? Action target tweak. So play action target, rlive object action target. Bunch of map fix-ups. And I'm guessing that the move command gets handled elsewhere? Move to. Oh, right, this is his variation, which has extracted that function. Which I would need to do then. Move to self. Right, and there is the move to, which, while I like functions, this could cut me off from any upstream changes to this code. Empty adjacent spot to click. So it starts off there. That's to ourself. Not already standing can interrupt current move. Close as possible. Oh, right. It sets the dest to click dest, and then we're just must we move. Zero, and nothing there. Move to an empty spot. As close as possible. Our live object equals 0, so this is a walk to pick up. Which is an interesting, well, not for drag drop, but for keyboard. So pick up, drop. There has to be one for use, I presume. So this has all the pathing logic. So must move. Restore it. Restore our old dest. There's definitely some complexities here. Need to move to an empty adjacent spot first. That is still a problem we have. Not can execute. Side access. Is grid adjacent. So it defaults to false. Direct click on adjacent cells or self cells. So it's always adjacent when keyboard mode does it. If we're trying to use on an arbitrary spot, we still have to consider all this stuff. So this is why I was reusing pointer down a lot. Don't consider north or south neighbors. Bears from behind the bush. Click the same target and yourself multiple times in a row. Yeah, so this is like a whole pathfinding thing. If we found a path, we can execute the move. And then always try to move as close as possible, even if we can't get there. So this points towards essentially more abstraction. And then if we can move there, then we prepare the next action message to send, depending on what we're doing. And then we execute the move to, which immediately sends a move command. Move message buffer. So that is the thing that comes back and sends the move command. Does that after preparing the buffer. Got a whole bunch of distinguishing that gets taken over by the individual commands. Can execute is a result of the path check. So this is a lot of intent distinguishing stuff. Then we have to do a pathability check, given that we have an idea what we want to do. Test ID. Or pickup action. We probably had to touch some of this code for intent as well. Dest ID greater than 0. Alright, this is more hardcore refactoring than game stuff. You see, the thing is, I kind of want to restructure this so I can reuse pieces better. But that kind of cuts me off from upstream changes. Or makes them much harder to maintain. So I might need to do a thing where like go back and extract move. And extract like path to near. And it is frustrating that we do this after that. Because otherwise we could just say pathfind and move there. if that's the case. And you might still want to separate that from the move command itself. All right, so if we're looking at... So I want to convert drag drop use to not use interaction modes. But I have to do essentially a bunch of massive refactoring to allow me to use that sort of an immediate command. So maybe I need to kind of, how would I split a patch? Because I kind of want to do the thing that is like base refactoring. And maybe I need to rethink some of that. And the thing that changes the interface. So show this patch. You don't really... So there's the drop command. That's a pointer down. Oh, so draw the drag effect. And on drop, we do this fake pointer down that takes care of all that logic. If we go up here, interaction modes is a combination of this stuff, and then a bunch of tweaks to how we traverse through this pointer differentiation code. Oops, got a blank line in there. $18.19. Yep, load file. $18.019 go. Mod click. STG refresh. So introduce that. We have a bunch of little ifs that change our traversal through there. So we've got some tweaks to check for pointer hit. We've got some there might be some coding to do in here too, although mostly when we're targeting tiles rather than sub-objects. Yeah, then a bunch of conditions to control flow. Oh wait, this is keyboard now. Yeah, and then, so you've got the stuff that supports this, and then the stuff that supports the current take on the interface. People, yes, like you. So like C is person mode. Oh, they are sent by locations. Now, the X might be a little bit different. Oh, 2 lower. If is lower, else we're trying to look for a person. Yeah, else it has to iterate through the things and find a mouse over ID. Oh, because it just sets. Okay, because mouse over is the examined person. So, do we want to consider, well, modifications to pointer down? We already had it where interact object is basically tile use, but there's still room for a lot of the smaller distinguishers in there. So I'd basically have to split interaction modes. And then shipping drag drop would depend on that. If I try to do drag drop as its own thing that doesn't depend on that, then I'm making in many ways bigger changes to abstract, move determination, and a use command for that tile. So my things end up being a little bit direct in that they say what they're going to do, but we're kind of cutting ourselves off from upstream changes. Alright, well the easier thing to do now is to continue with interaction modes and figure out how to split the patch. Once you include the word get, you get just so much other stuff. Hmm. Reset head, refresh minus I. Reverse direction. Which portions are going to be staged? Set tree. The superposition of patches is preserved. Remove hunks that go to the second patch. Set tree. I feel like they may have left out the things to actually edit or move and set patches. Poplard patch. Pop it off. Check out minus P from the patch. And then I guess push would detect that it was already changed. Or you spill it and incrementally add stuff. Now, what does the index flag do? Refresh from index instead of from work. Yeah, that's been a little bit ambiguous at times. Refresh applied patch instead of top patch. That's yeah, I mean, does it difference down to there and then do it? That could be a little bit weird. So we have delete spill. Or patch checkout. So interaction modes, well, that creates new patches below. Interaction modes proper is probably the base code. That mean we're like pick from its top, that's the weird one. STG. So am I gonna run into trouble? So we've already sort of got that. Just a self command. No, because I'm going to need like an interact drop then. When I want to do a drop command, oh, the other thing I'm missing is move mode. That was very ambiguous. And move might almost be where I got into trouble with feeling like I was clicking like crazy. I guess that could be the A. But moving to a tile is a straight up command. I don't think we need to do. Well, you need the move to, which does the path. So I guess conceivably I send. No, the trial pathing is what's doing adjacent tiles and all that special stuff. So interaction modes might not do it actually. I mean, it's starting to look like I need to go the full-on refactor pointer down. So we can use pieces like move to, move next to. And then the command is just next command. Which actually means kind of throwing away interaction modes. It definitely wouldn't apply. So I would have to go down below interaction modes. Refactor pointer down. So we've got pieces. We'll probably have a broken patch trying to reapply it. Which is sort of another reason to split it and like sort of keep around the interaction mode stuff and then have the sort of the intermediate UI. Although well, use on self is still a thing, I guess. So that still gives me some cause to split it because we need to do the refactoring. So spill. So then that becomes the interaction mode. Well, interaction modes, and we have like the interaction modifier UI, which relies on interaction mode because it's setting the interaction mode flag that gets used on ordinary pointer clicks, so it is not necessarily something that can be independently used. So we have to pop that. STG new. Right now it's mainly pointer down function extraction. And this is like okay. So must move. Okay, I think I grabbed the wrong thing there. I do need to go back to pointer move though, because that is kind of where we need to do this. Does this rely on... Does any of this code rely on the current object? Our live object I think it's local variable. How does that do it? He did put it into the page. So Jason usually does M for member variables. Usually. I guess the easier thing would actually be, we might have to call some functions for this. There's like a lot of variables. The member does seem to be holding up, though. But maybe it calls a function from here. Like compute path to dest. Wait, did I already paste this? I was looking at the wrong spot then, because there was like a lot of... Alright, I haven't saved anything yet. There was like a lot of... Oh, that's pointer move. So let's see if we can get away. This is .h. So he determined they were just regular ints. And his style is here. Our live object was not declared. Did I not search for that here? Okay. Get our live object was not declared in this scope. So it does have to be living life page. Which means, yep, not declared. So these are, yeah, these are all like overrides. Oh, he put it back up around force ground click. Sort of makes sense. Read that again. Ground. What? This has to be a syntax right. Living life page. It has to be a syntax error. Okay, it doesn't throw up about that. Oh, I didn't actually. No, that's the end of the function. All right, so that should have not changed behavior. Make and copy onelife.exe. Build Windows 215. What? Build Windows. Oh, it's 214. 215 is the binary that has mysteriously not been released yet. I don't know if. No. Unless he's been waiting to push it until today or maybe to Monday. No. No news posts. Nothing to be done. So I don't have anything here. Oh, and I was setting up a server. I didn't actually finish it. Build server. Package server. Package server run. And who was I? Okay. All right, so this should not have. Oop, there's that. That's another mystery I haven't solved. Why do we get those object transitions between versions? Okay, we want. select objects and perform actions. So that didn't break anything. Now, in order to trigger other actions, so that's just a regular, we clicked on the tile, there was nothing there, we can just move. Close as possible, even if we can't actually get close enough to execute the action. Yeah, so this is where we get into some problems. Use drop modifier or pickup action. Side access is a property of the object. So I actually think we've got move to, but I really want like, I mean, something similar to pointer down, except it's just like ensure close enough to or something. So where we're looking at, we're not really caring about context because we already know what we want to do. Do we need any other context variables here? So we've got a click dest. Side access. And then all this pathfinding logic. And then out of that, we have to get a can execute flag. Which is where we do in this. So I guess you'd have to return that from the attempt to move. Is grid adjacent. Side object access. Okay, so if it can't be immediately executed, then we need to move. Now, this presumably, there was the other case for use where you were adjacent. So we might need to reconsider some stuff there. Close enough to use object right now. So this does a use and a return before all of that other stuff. So I guess for use, we'll have to be checking these conditions. What I want is the logic that says side access, the is grid adjacent, or we're currently there. So we kind of want everything in here, and then that just calls this function. Because it says all the, like the special path finding can get there. Wait. If we found an empty tile to stand in, this is not can execute. Oh, but this is the actual execution. So that's going to be like probably the result of the function. Which is going to need our... So I could have passed our live object into move to. But now this is going to need compute path to death, which I think is also a living life page thing. Yeah. So we've got can execute is a char. So that means the the return value of the function is, are we either close enough to execute, or can we find a path to execute? So what are we going to need? So we've got a... Test ID 0. Right, he special cased distance elsewhere? Because all of this code assumes test ID not equal to 0. But what if you need to walk to a place to... That's mod click. Okay. Dest ID greater than 0 inside access. You need... dest ID, which you might be able to get indirectly. We need click dest. Which is not move dest, because this might update it. How often do we need that? A bit, because it's not necessarily a click dest anymore. could start there. So we need that. We need dest ID, which is probably a simple map lookup. We just use it a lot here. So it's been put into a variable. So that involves a bunch of map things, which involves a bunch of translation. Oh, speaking of which, this has to deal with map stuff. Yeah, there's map X, map Y, mmap. Well, mmapd is a member. So this definitely has to be a member variable. So I think we're going to come up short on a lot of context variables here. And we have to decide if it's better to recalculate them or pass them. Yep. I do sort of have a checkpoint here. So we need to, right, we never actually finished that. So like, there's white space errors, but it's just straight up copy pasted code. Now I guess they've changed the indentation so the white space has changed anyway. Actually. Where do we check that? Wait. Oh, that returns at a check for pointer hit, which then ends up skipping most stuff. It's the auto click, I think. No, let's pointer down. Block spot. Yeah, so these are those clicks. So potentially those could be taken over by move to. Except this is actually handled by different code. Anyway, STG series. STG. Well, maybe it won't take it. Oh, wrong terminal. Oh, the other terminal must not be pulling the get ignore defaults. Left page.h. This is click dest. And it's just a question of how much stuff is it going to take to make this work. So this is like move to if necessary. Move near. So many move tos. And even that's a non-trivial function. Holy cow. All right. Dest X, click dest Y. Yeah, there's gonna be more than that. This is pathing. Pathing. And then we get down here. So can't execute. Oh, right, we need to be pointer down. So here, we've still got you, right? I think. Somewhere in here. Dest ID, our live object. Map X, map Y, move dest. You're modifying move dest. I mean, I sort of understand that. Oh, right. One of the things I wanted to do was actually have this just execute the move. And it's... yeah. We said I must move at the bottom. So this just becomes move to And then yeah, we're doing some setting up here. I might end up being able to short circuit that though. All right. Art live object. Oh, there's lots of this. Move to move near. Dest ID, map X, map Y, move dest. Oop, I copied this. Are there returns in here? Not ignored as it. Maybe I didn't properly update this one. Yes. So we've got dest X, dest Y, move dest XY, which are pretty much to empty adjacent spot. This gets updated somewhere else. I clicked on empty space near an object. Grid cell around blocking object. Search for closest non-blocking and walk there. Well, we're never going to do that. We're going to click on objects. But this is looking like it doesn't consider site access, but it's largely the same code. So find the closest tile, update that, update our click dest, and update our map XY. But otherwise, move dest is the same as click dest. So for move near, we don't need move dest and click dest at the same time, do we? That's a one-time check, that's a one-time check, that's a one-time check. This is in a loop. Yes. So we're looking at our click dest. And if we found a spot, we're setting move dest. Move move dest is needed here. Click dest x. And we've still got a lot of other things it's complaining about. But we're actually down to a much more reasonable number of things. So we've got map x, map y, and dest ID. So we could pass down dest ID. All right, so initially 0 under certain conditions that involve x map y map x. Greater than 0. Oh. So that's our basic condition. This is our special condition. Destinum contained. Itself. Map y, map x. That's a forced ground click, which you don't care about. So these are recalculable from our target location. And then dest ID, but this is under certain conditions. Is there an else on this? Oh, if there's anything that we can, if it's a valid map position, get the dest ID. And dest ID is an int. Okay, and it has no syntax errors. Logic errors are a whole other animal. For one thing, we slightly changed the timing of moving. Can execute. Does anything here, anything else here change move dest? You're in move 2. You're in move near 2. You're in move near 2. That can change it. walk there instead. Which might mean we just want to do a move too, but then there's all these conditions that we've got here. So we do have a move dest, and move dest y. Which in that case, we're actually set equal to click dest. So it doesn't matter. And then you have to, well, no, because the move near to will issue the move. So this is where we could totally break something. Because he issued that after, we might presume, for some reason. Okay, nope, that looks good. All right. All right, so basic move works. Does that affect this at all? Move to object. Move to object. The other thing was ground near an object. So you got some of these things. We can kind of click into the holes of trees. Well, no, I've got my own mod that does that, so stuff to be considering. Things that are near the base, we can actually select that. All right, so far, there's no impact to that timing change. And that was what we needed to try doing. Drag drop as its own thing. Because we just wanted to say, use it here. Now, it doesn't allow you to do drop it here. And the way it was constructed before is that it did... Well, it'll be whatever the use is. So we want to take drag drop. It will possibly not be happy. Well, no, it wouldn't work, but I think the patch will transpose. So we want to push drag drop down below interaction modes, go into that one, edit it to see if we can make it work here. So that's STG help. We want to be able to do patches to the top. So I think we need sync. Sync patches below target patch. T target patches minus T interaction modes drag drop use. Oh boy. Can we even do this? Okay, we can. And then STG pop. All right, so this is going to be in pointer up where we handle this case. So it is convenient to just be able to say interaction mode. Oh, we had to do that special case. World mouse X. Now, is mouse X, it definitely is a float. Pointer down. Previous mouse X. In X, so click dest is pointer position. So we kind of need to be doing some of this. I do not have fake click modes currently. I had them at one point and did a bunch of that. So we've got that. And we want to say move near to. So I don't remember if this has all the appropriate conditionals in it. Oh, and this is where I might need to do the distance checks as well. And then, and we might end up wanting to abstract this as a function. Yeah, this is the distance check. All right, we need to do this. That will have to be determined. That's if we can get close enough. Now is this, okay, that is a global variable. I guess we should probably do, so that's clear. And this is copy code, but I don't know I care about spacing that much. Now this is not necessarily true. This is where we have to get into the... Yeah, check if they're close enough. We might only conditionally have to send move near to. What are you on about? 19508. We probably did not put an appropriate bracket here. Alright, are we still... Yes. Okay, so adjacent works. Now, slightly more complicated case. Okay, so we're always doing the move to now, even when it might not be necessary. Well, I've got certain... Alright, so if we stand here, we get a drop, get a pickup, get a use. Use. Okay, so there was no... So the move near to has some distance checking on it. But in this case, there was the distance check. Action target not adjacent. Right, because this means we don't need to move near to it. So, should this actually be handled in move near? To say, well, you know, you don't really need to move near. Also, this might not work for heal. So it might not even mean move near to. It might be more like... Well, okay, so we've got something... So we've got something. Oh, but we're in drag drop use now. Well, okay, so we've got a new version of that. Then we might want to go down to the refactoring to say, well, if we've got an object and it's got a use distance, we don't actually need to move anywhere. Although that only applies for usage. If we're trying to drop or something, we wouldn't always want to do that. Oh, but that turns it back into a drag drop fix, not a... Not a refactoring fix. So that... Right, so this is these are special things that can be done at range. Don't care. This requires... and dest ID not equal to 0. To use an object at range. So if you had a bow and use was a drop, you could drop it at range? Do we care about dest ID? We care about... We've already determined we're holding an object. So we care about that. We care about... Well, I guess to be true to the base game. We know it's not a mod click because we're doing a use. We know it's not that, but this means we do have to do map lookup. Again, which I guess is why it was all in one place before. We know we're attempting to use the object. Oh, but this will only work if it has a valid transition. So, what if we just didn't? Okay, so this code is where we copy the other thing from. So we have this condition that says we can go right away. So essentially, what are we doing? We have something like... Starting to look like the old code. Can execute what do we default to? If it is the use distance is greater than or less to if distance is greater than is the inversion of that, then, well, no, because this has to consider if it doesn't have a use distance, then we definitely have to consider moving towards it. But this has to have an else case that also moves towards it. And this involves a calculation of whether or not do if we don't have to. So we can't just turn it all into one big condition easily. But right now, we have to do an else. So we could monkey with it and say, well, if it's within distance, then we can execute. And then we check that before doing move near to. And we don't have our live object. Once again. Well, I'm starting to think I want to do like a use at. Well, for all of this, it would, for the other things I'm doing, it would be use at pointer location, which is actually at down a mod because that, I don't know, we've got it's just, or we've got live object is just a different name. 19482. Ah. So for this, I'm probably going to have to, well, the only thing I know that's used at range is bow and arrow. Okay, so that only does use. It does not currently allow for dropping. And there's also been that pig around here. Oh, but I'm checking this specifically in drag and drop. Hmm. Yeah, that will walk over there and do that. Hmm. There had been one up here from some kind of glitch. I think there were some down here as well. Problem is that I have to be within range. I guess I gotta go try to find a mouflon. They're not dangerous. I have to go find a mountain for that. Yep, there's a pig. I don't know if we got any of those around here. Yeah, it's kind of a mountainless area. Alright, well, I guess they have to be pigs. Oh, I also need to do the player not adjacent flag. Well, the good news is if I'm standing on the bow, they can't hit me immediately. Man, I swear this place was full of pigs at one point. Yep, there's one. Man, for all the times I run right into you. And it's behind bushes again. Hmm. For all the times you've died to pigs, now you just can't find one. Nope. Nope. This is 1 Hour, 1 Life by Jason Rohr. I know I had a window somewhere. He just makes the source available, and there are some things I try to tweak from now and then. Alright, so that did not appear to allow that to work. Now, where did he run off to? Well, I may have found a mountain. So that could lead to... Well, there's wolves. Which I think can't get me in here. Okay, so that doesn't seem to be working at all. Distance greater than 1. I probably need to be doing some... Oh, and I could check my server to see if I can... Well, I'm not going to be able to probably make any sense out of it now. Disconnected, drop, remove. There were no use messages sent at all. Now I actually want to look at what the bow is doing in general. Paying more attention to event sequence. Oh, and I'm still here. Okay. Okay, so that got processed as a remove? Drop. Oh. So that's the ordinary click saying this is a compound object. If I just want to pick up one thing, I could. Interesting. Now, if I want to pick this up and try to use it on something, it doesn't even register. Okay, so we're not even registering an intent to do something. Did I get my condition backwards? We left can execute equals true. I guess we should really say is if... So he originally had this as greater than or equal to D. Just for completeness of code. Can execute. We don't need to move. If it's not an object with use distance greater than 1, then we just do that. But I still feel like I'm missing something about what's going on here. Holding ID greater than 0, we're not in motion. Get our mouse held. Can execute. So we need to distinguish within distance outside range. We have normal move near and can execute unable to execute. Oh, for that I'm going to need standdog, but all right. So just for an attempt to do something, execution directory can execute. We've only got one thing. So we're within distance range and we can execute. Oh. But when do we trigger next action message to send? And what did send do about that? Okay, so we did all this stuff. Next action message, action at current title. Nothing special. Well, there is the remote action thing I didn't deal with. I don't think that has an impact. Send to server socket. We're not in motion. Move and act by server and action animation in progress. So where would, man, there's so much stuff in that current pointer down. It's hard to know what you missed. So we think we're queuing it up, but we're never saying, okay, time to do that. Oh. Ready to execute next action. Where do we set that? Done moving on client. You can start showing pending action animation at end of motion not received from server. Detect network. Oh, nope, and this is it. So that's like an internal state tracking thing. Not equal to null. Current speed equals 0. Is grid adjacent or player action target? Oh, or player action target not adjacent. So we do have to deal with that flag. Pointer up. It's not just for animation. So this is within use distance. This is we did it anytime we did this thing. So, but this is if we distance greater than 1. Not checking actual distance. Where do we want to use it? Oh, that would be if we can execute within distance. Otherwise, we move to it. I bumped something. So it actually is holding communications unless those things are true. And of course, now I lost that spot. Probably. Nope, still here. Probably just about to die. I guess I don't really care about carrot seeds here. Yep, just about to die. And where'd all the animals go? There was a mouflon around here somewhere. I guess it must have been a plains mouflon or something. There's a wolf. Well, it tried. It may have been moving at the moment. Nah. I'm not sure exactly what our distance is. Can I stand on this? Yes. Well, I can't put my thing down on it, though. And where did you get to? There was a mouflon here, too. But it's a really open, complicated area. Well, I started adjacent to that one, so it kind of doesn't really test it. You moved. Okay. So that seems to work. then we're going to end up testing a bunch of other, like if we were trying to do that, we'd combine it. Interesting. Well, it's probably bow and arrow that has the use distance on it. Yeah, because we walked over to that. However, anything I do, pointer down, later on, pointer up, that is a use action on some space, is going to need exactly that same logic. To use on a space, and I'm kind of okay doing that. So essentially, all of this needs to move into our other patch. Oh, and I'm not checking. I might just kind of leave that there and see how it works. I don't know, sprintf. So this is going to be awkward for a bit. STG series, we are on. Drag, drop, use. So first, we need to I actually, because it's not always going to be remote. Whether it's remote depends on this. So that is this condition. So it's mostly that. No, we do want that. So this got a lot messier than I was hoping it would be. And buffer notes, I'm just going to dump that down here just in case. See, so get status. Oh, so we actually put some of that in there. So we pop that off. We go into refactoring. This is probably... Well, those things were member functions. This is going to call member functions. And it's not know if it's really click dust. You know what else? Not following his style. Click dust. Move near. think this is a void. And actually probably got reg. So that gives us a currently untested, currently untested function. So the code we copied from here was not O, but our live object. We must be getting some meta character thing in here. Is it you? Pattern not found. Oh, it's a 0. Did I have my selection? I didn't have my selection on that one. And we have to go up here. Because we had exactly the same thing. Only this doesn't currently have a test case for this. We can do a compile test. So STG, refresh that. STG, push. Go back to, let's see, pointer up. Click dest x. And I've been kind of maintaining click dest just because it was what he used to the place. Oh, we're still here. I don't know how much longer. Nah, you're gone. Are there any objects that actually interact? Now we find little pegs. Oh, and we are actually at 0. And that won't help. Okay, so that appears to be still working as before. Hit diff. So now this becomes trivial, assuming the previous patch. Well, there's the whole drawing thing. Well, and STG show, it's actually more than that. That was just a change. And unfortunately, thinking through that refactoring actually took longer than I was hoping, so we didn't really get to redoing other interface stuff. I could try doing use object. STG. That also leaves me without move mode. Oh no, we've got move to. This is gonna be more like action keys. Key down. So this isn't necessarily going to be what we had before. Yeah, that was not good. But if we go last car used, so we did have something there. Yeah, okay. So if we go down using this sort of standard okay, so we got our default. It's not say field. Can probably actually look a little bit at and the self key STG series, STG show. Oh, that was for key. Oh, right, because I did that in interaction modes, right? So that doesn't incorporate the screen locking. So anyway, was that using an existing key? Oh, no, it was capturing that from something else because of patches being weird. Now this thing is weird. Okay, well that works at least. Nope. Control V. So if we go with the same as keyboard mod, still needs right, so we're doing some other stuff. And this has, or should have, oh no it didn't because we're using it on ourselves. Oh, that's where this went. So we just go with that idea. And pointer. No, I didn't actually like these as action buttons before. Wait, did we lose? I guess I did. Is this a different? Oh no, V is VOG mode. So we actually can't do V. Well, it's capital V, so as long as we're not shifting, we're okay. Zero. I actually want this to be move. And then doing F from the other one. And then I still have to deal with like drop and. Oh, right, in X was that. So we have to deal with. I don't have that version of things anymore. Well, it's like world, mouse, X, screen to world. Fake click. World current mouse vector. Fake click. Now this is to throw it out. World current. So last screen mouse X. World mouse XY. So world mouse, world mouse. World mouse Y. Okay, no complaints about that. Oh, where did I put? Oh, I left it on lowercase v. So we should have. How did that actually crash? We weren't really doing anything all that interesting. We had move to. If there's a thing there, we'll move to it, and that was fine. Yeah, it does not like that use at. Oh, because use at was assuming a held object before. Yeah. So this needs to do something else when we're not holding something. Which needs to be something like a pickup. So I think the only real issue here is that we do have to include a rlive object holding ID. And then I don't have a good drop key, so that's going to have to go back to regular clicks for the time being. And then eat, and then use. Okay, so yeah, that does not turn into a drop command. So use on empty is not a, I'm going to think with fewer transitions. So I've got a use key, but it's not, yeah, this is not fully baked enough to play with yet. All right, so what can we do? We can now I think this might create conflicts. STG help. There's like a hide. Hide a patch. Then can I push this on? Oh. What is it? It's like cached? Yeah, so we got all this stuff. It's in here. Oh shoot, this is actually a patch down in a different patch. STG unhide. I don't know what's going on right now. Okay, STG refresh. Wait, what? Why do we get into this state? I usually have to do this. Get status, STG a series STG pop use at STG refresh. Okay, get status. Maybe you have to hide it from here. And then STG push. Oh, okay. So that, like, even hit it from this. Well, there must be some option to show that shows hidden. But this should get us back to about where we were before, with drag drop not depending on the interaction modes thing, which is now a little extra messy. But because we're kind of doing things two ways. All right, so now I've got hold to move, hold to lock, and we've got our regular clicks, and this, which in theory is better patched than it was before because of things we picked up from Zed's stuff. So that's something I can test today. It's not going to hit a whole lot of the new code. Actually, that reminds me, I should check. Okay, so nothing in those changes. Nothing in news indicating he's published the client yet, and we'll find out if need updating that. Copy one life to D games, one life, one life. All right. I would like to get lunch and then come back to actually play the game. Not going to be a whole lot of changes because I kind of was running out of time to really do anything useful with the keyboard mode there. We're going to have to see how that, because I still have to think about, like, how do we drop and how do we deal with backpacks. I mean, if I go straight to drop, well, no, because I did want to do pointer drop in some cases. So yeah, it's not something necessarily I want to try and work out right now. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hosting. Let's see, do I have anything to recommend in the meantime? And schedule is changing. I'm going to start taking Tuesdays and Thursdays off, at least for the time being. Let's see, I know we did that earlier. There's some other game dev. So yeah, still going. Possibly looking for divines Design inspiration? Flip Switch is looking on a Metroidvania. Looking for someplace cool to hang out? That's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.